For decades, going to the doctor has literally just meant waiting for something to go wrong. You feel sick, you book an appointment, and, well, you hope they figure it out. But today, that entire reactive model is being totally dismantled. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, I'll be stepping into the role of your professional consultant to brief you on a massive, game-changing operational shift happening in healthcare right now. We're talking about moving away from those old traditional models and stepping right into an era of unprecedented, continuous connectivity. So whether you're a healthcare admin looking at the bottom line, a tech enthusiast watching the Internet of Things evolve, or just a patient who wants better care, the fundamental infrastructure of how we receive medical attention is being re-engineered from the ground up.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll define this massive healthcare paradigm shift, look at the sensors and AI behind it, step inside the smart hospital, explore the virtual ward revolution, and finally, lock it all down with security and future projections. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The Healthcare Paradigm Shift. Let's start with the big picture and define exactly how the fundamental model of patient care is transforming.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is that we are abandoning reactive, intermittent healthcare. Think about traditional care for a second. You go to the doctor, they take your vitals, and that's it. That data is just a snapshot, just a single frame taken every few months. And honestly, a snapshot means if your condition changes the day after your appointment, nobody knows until your next visit. It's a huge, incredibly dangerous blind spot. But the new model, driven by the Internet of Things, or IoT, is a continuous 24/7 stream of health data. It's literally the difference between looking at a faded Polaroid and watching a high-definition live video stream of your personal health. We are talking about catching a dangerous blood pressure spike the exact minute it happens, not 3 weeks later when it becomes a crisis.
And this shift isn't just technologically superior, it is hugely demanded by the market. Look at this. An overwhelming 80% of patients actually prefer this continuous care to happen right in the comfort of their own homes. Because, let's be real, absolutely nobody prefers bland hospital food, constant beeping machines, and an uncomfortable bed if they can get the exact same clinical-grade monitoring from their living room couch. People want the security of hospital-level oversight, for sure, but they want it without the massive disruption of an actual hospital stay.
Moving right along to Section 2, Sensors, Actuators, and AI. Let's look at the foundational tech actually making all of this possible.
Basically, the Internet of Things relies on this continuous, highly intelligent loop. On one side, we have sensors. These collect real-world biological data. Think of a discrete wearable detecting a dangerous drop in a patient's blood sugar. Then, on the other side, we have actuators. Actuators take that digital data and convert it into meaningful, physical medical actions. A perfect example? An automated insulin pump receives that sensor data and immediately adjusts the dosage to stabilize the patient, completely without human intervention. This loop of sensing and acting, that's the heartbeat of modern connected care.
But wait, when you inject artificial intelligence into this mix, the whole system just completely transforms. Research from Infosys maps this evolution out beautifully. First, you have monitoring, where the product just watches its own condition, kind of like a check engine light on an MRI machine. Next is controlling, where it actively adjusts parameters based on your history. But the absolute magic happens in Phase 3, optimizing. Optimizing is the holy grail for hospital administrators. It's the difference between a machine telling you it's broken and a machine ordering its own replacement part 3 weeks before it ever fails. It's the difference between treating a heart attack and proactively predicting one before the patient even feels a symptom.
Now for Section 3, Inside the Smart Hospital. Let's scale this tech up and step inside the four walls of an intelligent, fully connected healthcare environment to see the operational benefits in action.
Welcome to the Internet of Medical Things, or IoMT. Think of this as the central nervous system of a smart hospital. Instead of isolated, dumb machines that need constant manual checking, the IoMT ties together IV pumps, ventilators, imaging scanners, smart beds, the whole shebang into one unified, intelligent stream. The hospital basically becomes a digital twin. This means administrators and head nurses have a real-time virtual replica of the entire building right on their screens. They know exactly what's happening in every room, with every machine and every patient at every single second. Now, when I show these numbers to executive boards, the reaction is instant. Think about the everyday chaos of a hospital floor. You've got nurses spending 20 minutes just searching for a misplaced IV pump or an available wheelchair. Well, by utilizing real-time location tracking, we cut lost equipment by nearly 35%. And that operational efficiency, it translates directly to a 30% faster patient turnover rate simply because staff aren't wandering the halls looking for gear. Throw in predictive maintenance that slashes equipment failures by up to 15%, and you are looking at lowering overall operational costs by a massive 20%. These are not just clinical upgrades, they are monumental financial lifesavers.
To hit those financial wins, hospitals are deploying some truly fascinating connected systems. We're talking wireless vital sensors continuously tracking cardiac rhythms, smart beds that use pressure sensors to detect if a frail patient is trying to stand up, automatically alerting nurses to prevent a fall. And on the operational side, look at IoT-driven refrigeration. A single hospital fridge might hold 50 grand worth of specialized vaccines or critical blood supplies. If a door is accidentally left ajar and the temp drifts by a single degree, it doesn't just beep in an empty hallway. It automatically intervenes or sends a direct alert to a facility manager's phone. Boom! Massive financial loss prevented and patient safety protected.
All right, Section 4, the virtual ward revolution. Because this incredible operational efficiency isn't just confined to the hospital campus anymore.
Remote patient monitoring, or RPM, is not some futuristic concept. It has absolutely exploded. As of recent data, 81% of U.S. clinicians are already utilizing RPM to track their patients from afar. That's a staggering 305% growth over just a few short years. The paradigm shift is officially here, folks. The hospital is no longer a physical building, it is wherever the patient happens to be. So why are health administrators rushing to adopt this so aggressively? Because the financial incentive is just as powerful as the clinical one. Treating patients in these highly monitored virtual wards at home is 30 to 50% cheaper than a traditional inpatient hospital stay. 30 to 50%. It completely rewrites the economics of healthcare. It allows hospitals to reserve high-cost, physical-intensive care beds strictly for the critically ill, while providing exceptional, continuous care for folks safely recovering at home.
How does a virtual ward actually function in practice? Instead of occupying a physical hospital bed, patients are boxed up with a connected kit and sent home. And we aren't talking about your everyday consumer fitness watch here. This is clinical-grade, FDA-cleared equipment. Wearable ECG chest patches, continuous pulse oximeters, smart thermometers, and medication adherence sensors that literally know if you actually swallowed your pill. These devices securely stream vitals directly to AI dashboards back at the hospital, letting care teams monitor dozens of patients at once and intervene the exact moment a risk is detected.
Now you might be wondering, doesn't the quality of care drop when you leave the building? The answer is a definitive no. Actually, the most astonishing metric here isn't even financial, it's clinical. IoT monitoring paired with AI interventions can cut cardiac readmissions by up to a massive 70%. Because the AI is crunching a continuous stream of data, it spots those subtle downward trends. We are literally predicting heart issues days before the patient ever reaches for their chest in pain. Absolutely incredible.
Finally, Section 5, Security and Future Projections. Because scaling this massive interconnected ecosystem brings a critical new challenge that we have to talk about. Here is the sobering reality of the smart healthcare era. In a traditional corporate environment, IT protects data. But in the Internet of Medical Things, IT protects biology. Because these devices can literally control medication doses or manage life support ventilators, a hacked medical device is no longer just a privacy breach. It is a direct, immediate threat to a patient's life. Healthcare is now the #1 most targeted industry for cybercriminals, and legacy IoT devices, which are notoriously tough to patch, are their easiest entry points. To safely scale this technology, healthcare organizations cannot rely on outdated security models. As a consultant, this is exactly where I tell hospital boards they must spend their money. You have to adopt a zero-trust architecture. This means absolutely no device is implicitly trusted just because it's inside the building. It requires strict network segmentation. You put patient wearables in one digital lane and critical life support or MRI scanners in a completely separate lane. That way, if a hacker breaches a smart thermometer, they hit a brick wall before they even see the critical infrastructure. Add in continuous AI monitoring of the network traffic, and you create a resilient, genuinely secure care environment. Which brings us to our final thought today. As continuous, predictive AI care totally replaces the old reactive snapshot model, it leaves us with a fascinating, very real question to ponder. As this technology scales securely and administrators realize these massive operational benefits,
How soon before your own living room becomes the most advanced healthcare facility you will ever use? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope it gave you a clear, structured look into the incredible operational shifts transforming the business and delivery of healthcare today. Catch you next time.